Maybe this feels familiar. You don't waste money. You don't buy designer clothes every week. You don't order food every night. You compare prices. You wait for discounts. You work hard. You try to be responsible. And yet somehow, every month feels harder than the last. Your rent goes up. Your groceries go up. Your bills go up. Your salary goes up. And somehow disappears before you even notice it arrived. So eventually a thought begins to grow. Maybe I'm just bad with money. Maybe if you worked harder. Maybe if you saved more. Maybe if you sacrificed more. Maybe then everything would finally click. But what if that's not true? What if being good with money simply isn't enough anymore? Because the financial world your parents entered, and the financial world you're entering, are not the same world. And if you're using yesterday's rules to play today's game, the game feels impossible. Today we're talking about why. Chapter 1. The cost of existing has changed. There was a time when one income could support an entire household. One job. One mortgage. One family. For many people today, that feels almost fictional. Housing costs exploded. Education costs exploded. Transport costs exploded. Food costs exploded. Insurance costs exploded. The price of existing quietly became expensive. And this changes everything. Because financial advice often sounds simple. Just save more. Just spend less. Just skip the coffee. But the problem with modern finances isn't usually coffee. It's housing. It's energy. It's transportation. It's essentials. When necessities consume more income, even disciplined people begin to struggle. Which is why so many hardworking people feel stuck. Not because they're irresponsible, but because the floor itself moved higher. Chapter 2. Saving money is no longer the finish line. For decades people repeated the same advice. Save your money. Put it in the bank. Leave it there. And for a long time, that worked reasonably well. But the world changed. Money sitting still became less powerful every year. Not because money disappeared. Because prices kept moving. Inflation is strange. You rarely notice it in a single day. But over years, it changes everything. A meal that costs £5 becomes 10. A house that cost 100,000 becomes 400,000. The numbers grow. Your money doesn't. Saving still matters. Emergency funds matter. Security matters. But saving alone is no longer enough. Because surviving and growing are not the same thing. And modern money requires both. Chapter 3. Convenience became a business model. Modern spending doesn't feel like spending. That's the problem. You don't hand over cash anymore. You tap. You swipe. You click. You subscribe. The money disappears silently. Streaming subscriptions. Music subscriptions. Cloud storage. Premium memberships. Monthly payments. Installments. Buy now. Pay later. Everything feels affordable when it's divided into smaller pieces. £10 here. £15 there. £20 somewhere else. Individually, they feel harmless. Together, they quietly become another rent payment. Convenience changed spending psychology. Because people spend differently when money feels invisible. The easier money becomes to spend, the harder it becomes to notice leaving. Chapter 4. Your attention is being monetized. This might be the most important part of the video. Because modern companies aren't simply competing for your money. They're competing for your attention. Your attention determines your spending. Every advertisement. Every recommendation. Every notification. Every limited time offer. Every flash sale. Every countdown timer. Someone somewhere spent millions learning how to make you buy something you didn't plan to buy. And they're very good at it. The average person isn't fighting bad habits anymore. They're fighting billion-pound industries built around persuasion. That's why discipline feels harder. Because the game became smarter. The battlefield moved into your pocket. Into your phone. Into your social media feed. Into your everyday life. Understanding this changes the conversation. Because awareness is the first defense. Chapter 5. Income is important, but ownership changes the game. There are limits to income. There are only so many hours. Only so many shifts. Only so much overtime. Eventually time runs out. Ownership works differently. Ownership scales. Investments. Businesses. Digital products. Skills that create opportunities. Assets that continue producing value. This doesn't happen overnight. And it doesn't require becoming rich tomorrow. It starts small. Learning. Improving. Building. Growing slowly. Because wealth usually looks boring while it's being built. Consistency rarely feels exciting. Until years pass. And suddenly the results become impossible to ignore. Conclusion: maybe you aren't failing. Maybe you're not bad with money. Maybe you're not lazy. Maybe you're not irresponsible. Maybe you're trying to win a modern game using instructions written for a completely different world. And if that's true, then the answer isn't shame. The answer isn't guilt. The answer is learning new rules. Better rules. Rules designed for the world you're actually living in. Because the moment you understand the game, you stop blaming yourself for every setback. And you start building strategies instead. Not overnight success. Not shortcuts. Not fantasies. Just better decisions. Repeated consistently. For long enough to matter. Because financial freedom isn't usually built in dramatic moments. It's built quietly. One decision at a time. One habit at a time. One lesson at a time. And maybe that's the best news of all. Because if money is a skill, skills can be learned. And if skills can be learned, your story isn't finished yet. The old rules taught people how to earn money. The new rules teach people how to keep it. The future belongs to those who learn the difference.